Bangladesh, one of the most densely populated countries in the world, is also the most polluted. Here lies the worst air quality on the planet, and breathing in these toxic particles can reduce the life expectancy of its citizens by up to 7 years. Every day, approximately 350 tons of waste are dumped into the country's rivers. Water, which should be a source of life, has turned into a threat. Drinking it is like swallowing poison due to the high concentration of arsenic and other chemicals. Noise in the cities is so extreme that many residents suffer from permanent hearing loss. Even the meat consumed here absorbs heavy metals from the air, becoming a source of disease. Dhaka, the nation's capital, is the most densely populated city in the world, with areas reaching up to 150,000 inhabitants per square kilometer. Welcome to Bangladesh, the most toxic country on Earth. Located in South Asia, Bangladesh is the 8th most populous and the most densely populated country in the world. With an area of around 148,000 square kilometers, it is almost completely surrounded by India, except for a small border with Myanmar to the southeast and a long coastline along the Bay of Bengal. This limited territory, combined with a population of over 170 million people, results in an extremely high population density. Its land is cut by major rivers that empty into the Bay of Bengal, the most important being the Ganges. Dhaka, the capital, is one of the largest cities in the world, with over 23 million residents. Still, Bangladesh remains a largely rural country, with most of its population working in agriculture. Although the country has made significant strides in economic development in recent decades, it continues to face serious poverty-related challenges. Its economy is strongly driven by the service sector, particularly the textile industry. In 2016, Bangladesh saw a major increase in foreign investment in textiles, securing its place as the second largest clothing producer in the world, just behind China. Attracted by cheap labor, global companies expanded operations in the country, creating thousands of jobs. However, the negligence of many factory owners has led to fatal accidents, revealing the poor working conditions and drawing international criticism. A government study found that about 21,000 cubic meters of liquid and industrial waste are dumped into the Ganges River daily, especially in Dhaka. This means that nearly every factory in the capital is polluting the city's rivers with toxic water. People living near these rivers face serious health problems, skin diseases, digestive issues, and respiratory conditions. More than 5,000 slums in Dhaka are affected by the river's pollution, housing an estimated 4 million people. With 23 million inhabitants, Dhaka is not only the most populous city in Bangladesh, but also the 9th most populous city in the world. Rapid urbanization, combined with intense industrial activity, especially in the textile sector, comes at a high cost. 1 in every 6 people in the capital suffers from pollution-related illnesses. This scene of mountains of garbage is not a dump. It's the dried bed of a river, once flowing, now buried under waste. The river was meant to connect to the Ganges, but today every breath taken here can shorten a life due to the toxins in the air. In 2019, Bangladesh was ranked as the country with the worst air quality in the world by international environmental monitoring organizations. South Asia, including India and Pakistan, now forms one of the most air-polluted regions on the planet. Despite the chaotic appearance of trash-covered streets, this is actually one of the least dangerous problems. The real threat lies in the toxic chemicals present in the air and water. Air pollution levels here are 15 times higher than the limits recommended by the World Health Organization. Spending a single day breathing in Dhaka is estimated to be the equivalent of smoking 50 cigarettes. These particles are 30 times thinner than a human hair and are loaded with heavy metals like arsenic, lead, mercury, and cadmium. Old, poorly maintained engines add to the problem by releasing hydrocarbons, black carbon, and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. Brick factories are among the top contributors to air pollution. There are an estimated 7,000 brick factories in Bangladesh, producing 23 billion bricks per year. To avoid inspections, many owners bribe officials so they can continue operating without regulation. These kilns burn wood, coal, and other fuels, all released into the air without any form of filtration. Pollution also affects food. The meat sold in local markets absorbs airborne toxins and is often washed with arsenic-contaminated water. Lack of refrigeration encourages bacteria like salmonella, while flies spread parasites. The high temperatures accelerate food spoilage, generating toxins that cause food poisoning and serious gastrointestinal infections. In a place like this, it's hard to find any space that hasn't been contaminated. Things become even more alarming when we realize that around 270,000 people die every year in Bangladesh from pollution-related causes. Nearly half of them are children, the most vulnerable of all. In Dhaka, we see a portrait of total degradation. A butcher shop beside speeding trains, meat exposed, people working on the tracks as if a train wasn't passing right beside them. Here, everything functions in disorienting chaos. When the train passes, life simply goes back to its frantic pace. Those who have nowhere else to go settle between the tracks, working, selling, and surviving. But perhaps even more shocking is the issue of drinking water. In the 1970s and 80s, to avoid surface water pollution, thousands of wells were drilled across the country. But years later, it was discovered that about 30% of those wells were contaminated with arsenic, a toxic substance that can cause cancer, neurological diseases, and lung conditions. What was intended as a solution became a death sentence for thousands. Even today, many still rely on this water due to lack of affordable alternatives. The World Health Organization has classified this as one of the largest mass poisonings in history. For those who can't afford water purification systems, the government filters the water and sells it in bottles at affordable prices. But even then, it's far from safe. Still, for most people, it's the only option, consuming the poison that's made available to them. Another serious issue, especially in Dhaka, is the sewage system, one of the most inadequate in the world. Every day, around 350 tons of toxic waste are dumped directly into rivers, worsening environmental contamination. Black waters filled with sewage, feces, urine, and medical waste from more than 20 million people are released untreated into rivers. It's common to see residents throwing garbage directly into the water as if it were normal. In Bangladesh, nature and the city are painfully intertwined. Where there should be space for life, we see abandonment and disregard for the environment. What remains of one of the country's most important rivers is now just a reflection of human neglect. What we're witnessing here is not just a local problem. It's a country struggling to deal with its own pollution. The Buriganga River, once a lifeline of Bangladesh, is now biologically dead. Its waters, once sources of sustenance, are now black, covered in waste and pollutants. No fish, no life. In the past, fishermen depended on it to survive. Now it's one of the most contaminated rivers in the country. All the city's waste, fecal matter, industrial chemicals, and garbage ends up here. The waters that once nourished communities are now a dumping ground for filth and disease. Factories with no proper treatment systems release their waste directly into canals without any oversight. Yet despite all this, people continue to live here, on the water. Boatmen with nowhere else to live make their homes in their boats. They bathe in these waters because it's all they have. What seems unthinkable to many is daily reality for those who have no choice. But water pollution is only part of the story. Dhaka also suffers from an invisible form of pollution: noise. Noise levels reach such extreme highs that the damage is irreversible. The constant roar of the streets and engines creates chronic stress among the population, leading to aggressive behavior and emotional exhaustion. In this environment, we also find ear cleaners, people who earn a living from a humble yet essential job. They are sought after by those suffering from progressive hearing loss caused by the constant noise and acoustic pollution. Amid so much devastation, we must stop and ask, what are we doing to our planet? Could we be heading toward a future like the one Bangladesh is already facing? The message is clear. We must value and protect the environment before it's too late. Bangladesh is a stark warning of what happens when pollution and environmental neglect become part of daily life. It is a nation battling the consequences of its own industries, a population that, despite all odds, keeps resisting and trying to survive. I hope this video serves as a wake-up call. We must take care of our world, because if we don't, we might find ourselves facing the same terrifying reality. And the question remains, how much longer can the planet endure such neglect? Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.